Hi, I'm Al. Welcome to Cinemachine. I'm here with Brandon.
Hello there.
Ryan.
Howdy.
And once again, our very special guest, Chris.
Back again.
Can't get rid of him.
I had to beg him to come on this week because I needed a little backup.
He's so little he can sneak into the room. We don't even know.
You don't know, but here I am.
No, back by popular demand, Chris is here. Now, this week is a very special week for me because I said I was going to hold the podcast hostage for a little while, if you want to put it that way.
He's made these demands before.
Yeah, and every time
we were just like, all right, let's just get this over with.
Band-Aid. So stay tuned for a big announcement here in a little bit. But first, we're going to review the movie that I put up for voting. I'm so excited. Ryan, I guess we can tell everybody how they can comment and find us and everything like that. You want to do that right quick, and then we'll get into the greatest movie.
Sure, let's talk about the not important stuff, right, Al?
Nada.
So the easiest thing to do would be to scroll down and leave your comments in the comments. Obviously, want you to hit the subscribe button and stay up to date on all things Cinemachine. Also on Instagram at CinemachinePod. We love talking movies, and we are on there fairly frequently. So hit us up there.
Yeah, thanks. Well, this week I am the winner. I'm very excited about this. This week we're going to be reviewing none other than Mr. John Carpenter's They Live.
Is it They Live? I thought it was They Live.
It's They Live.
I was kind of on Ryan's team on that.
Yeah. So, this movie was released November 4th, 1988. Of course, John Carpenter. Budget of $85 million. With a box office of $4 million. That's right, I said 4.
Oh, yikes.
So this movie is Nada, a wanderer without meaning in his life, discovers a pair of sunglasses capable of showing the world the way it truly is. As he walks the streets of Los Angeles, Nada notices both the media and the government are comprised of subliminal messages meant to keep the population subdued, and the most of the social elite are skull-faced aliens bent on world domination. With this shocking discovery, Nada fights to free humanity from the mind-controlling aliens. Oh, joy. I love it. Nada is played by none other than Mr. Rowdy Roddy Piper, for all you WWF, not WWE fans. Keith David, Meg Foster, George Buck Flower, Peter Jason, Raymond St. Jacques. How do you say?
Just make it up.
Yeah. Jacques.
Play it cool, man. Play it cool.
Jacques. So, buy it. I'm done. Done. Everybody buy it.
I do need to jump in here for a little bit of, I guess, correction on my part. I guess I didn't replace the budget from last week's movie.
Okay. All right.
So
Changing history.
I was like, holy smokes, that movie tanked.
I was like, I don't remember it having that big a budget. It was like a dirt budget.
Yeah. So the budget was $4 million,
Yeah.
and the box office was $13 million.
Yeah. That's
So that's
better.
not bad.
There we go.
That's okay.
I didn't want people
4,
coming after
85.
you in the comments.
Pretty close.
Good.
Here at Cinemachine, we're all about forgiveness.
So I had to make that
And
correction.
that's more than saying sorry.
What kind
Yeah.
of operation
It's
is
true.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So apologies.
It's just that, not an operation. It's like,
That's like Brandon's first retraction since like the 6th episode or something. It's pretty good.
something like that.
Pretty good.
Hey, Brandon.
Where's
Still
the
love you,
fake
buddy.
news
It's
bumper?
okay. Hey, either way, I'm super excited. Like I told you guys, I love this movie. We'll get into all the ins and outs of this movie. There is a lot of cult fanaticism about this movie. And I saw last week when I nominated this that Chris knew a little bit of the inside. He made a couple quotes from it, so I thought we'd bring you back on so I could at least have one ally, because I'm not sure how this is going to go down with the Cape Cast crowd. So I'm hoping for the best, but I don't know. This movie is not for everybody. But so I tell you what, I know when you guys first saw this. You don't have to tell me that. Maybe Chris does, but Brandon,
was me asking for your login, the giveaway for that?
yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was the giveaway.
Well, since you already know when we saw it, let's let Chris give his little.
Yeah, Chris, when did
rundown
you
of-
see this movie first?
First time I saw this movie was probably somewhere from like 15 to 20 years ago. Only other
Okay.
time I'd seen it, aside from my recent rewatch.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about this movie. I'd never heard of it at the time of watching it. I didn't know that it was a cult classic. A buddy of mine, pretty big movie buff, knew how much I loved John Carpenter and Big Trouble in Little China being one of my favorite movies. And we were both kind of tuned into Shepard Fairey at the time. So he's like, oh, we have to watch They Live. So I watched it with him. First time I'd seen it, first time I'd heard of it. And even not knowing kind of like the cult things, it's so obvious of what is remembered, because the two things I remembered more than anything was like, that was a really long fight scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that dude is there to chew bubble gum, but he's all out of it.
Yeah. That's all he was. Oh, that's so classic. Now we'll get into all the how that's been used elsewhere in the
Al, didn't you because I feel like, didn't you like discover this movie like in the middle of our show kind of, or had you already seen
No,
it before?
I had never seen it before. It was one of those ones on my list, and I just wanted to see it. And
I
it
remember
was,
you being really excited that
yeah,
one
no,
episode
it
came on.
wasn't really available for like I don't know. I just, one of those movies that escaped me, but I just always wanted to see it. I've always wanted to see it. I like John Carpenter. I like John Carpenter's 80s movies. I'll put it that way. 70s and 80s movies. But I just, and I'm not going to say I'm the biggest John Carpenter fan in the world, but I do appreciate what he's done. The fact he plays his own music, writes his own movies for the most part. And they're all very different, and very strange. So I was very excited to watch it. And when I did come on and said, hey, I watched this, I was almost as happy as I am right now that I watched it.
Almost as happy as Brandon reviewing Forrest Gump.
Yeah. I love this movie. So, all right, let's talk about it. Ryan, what were your initial thoughts? And remember, just short initial thoughts.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you. Of the Al movies that have won, okay, The Thing was good. I'm on board with it. I liked Green Room. Promising Young Woman was awesome. This one was very just meh for me.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about it more.
Sure. Brandon, what was your initial thoughts? What were your initial thoughts?
I don't think I'm as low on it as Ryan is, but it's a movie that I like. I guess I ironically enjoyed because of its like hokiness. I like the concept of it. I feel like it's probably a movie that if I could see like, and I don't know if this is like a knock on the movie or not, but it's one of those like kind of so like schlocky that it's good kind of movies. That I could see myself enjoying over time more than just my initial viewing. Maybe I don't know what I was expecting. I think I enjoyed this more than The Thing.
Sure.
Because this, I don't know if it was intentionally like this, but this one seemed to be aware of what kind of movie it was. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they were trying for something different and then it just came across like, like Tommy Wiseau was trying to make The Room this like masterpiece, but it came across as this like crazy, ridiculous movie. I feel like this falls into that camp. Yeah, I'm not like over the moon about it, but I thought it was an enjoyable watch just for what it was.
Yeah, it's a silly movie. The concept is completely bonkers, but it's really fun. So, do any of you know the backstory as to why John Carpenter put this movie together? Or so, Chris, you know?
I think so, a little bit.
No
Yeah.
idea.
So Reagan was, president of choice at the time, And I want to say this. We're going to talk about this, but we're not getting into a political conversation, everybody out there, okay? You hear politics everywhere else. This is not where you're going to hear that. We're just going to talk about a movie.
Al, who did you vote for in that election?
Great. You were flagged because of the E word.
Reagan was president of choice then, and John Carpenter did not agree with the way Reagan was going. With he felt like capitalism was too much, and just didn't go the way he wanted to. So he wanted to show kind of how he saw capitalism taking over and kind of brainwashing Americans and people in general. And there was a comic book called 8 O'Clock in the Morning by Ray Nelson. So this is partly based on a comic book. So in all reality, kind of a Cape Cast episode.
Now, this movie is great. I love this movie.
Yeah, zinger. It's loosely based on that. But this movie is really just I like this movie not because of the political slant to it, but I like it because this is kind of I'm very some people might say persnickety, acerbic, however you want to put that, but this is kind of how I view the world. I think everything's out to get you and stuff.
I don't think anybody thinks that, Al.
No. As in our text messages, it's always like Al found that on the dark web. So, this is definitely kind of how I see it. Like when they're holding the money and whatnot, it says this is your God, and just all of that. That's just kind of how I see the world. I have a very kind of punk rock state of mind when I look at things. So, this movie to me is a punk rock movie. That's why I like it so much. It's right up there with Repo Man and a few others, but. Anyway, I like the aesthetic of this movie a great deal, and we're going to get into all these aspects. But did you guys get anything from this being a political kind of view at all? Chris, was that what you had heard or that you had learned?
Yeah, I mean, kind of that Reagan take and that interpretation from the comic. And I think it was like a short story before that was like then a comic.
It may have very well been.
I think I also read that old Roddy Piper thought that this was actually based on a true story.
Yes, Roddy Piper thought this was a documentary.
I mean, I'll let you get into that. I'm sure you did the research.
Yeah. Yes, Roddy Piper actually said that on the Blu-ray commentary.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
So,
I didn't know anything about this movie going into it.
Yeah.
I knew that Roddy Piper was in it.
So let's talk about Roddy Piper. Let's just talk. We'll call him Roddy.
What's up,
now,
Roddy?
Yeah.
He's dead, Ryan.
He's dead, Ryan.
So?
I mean, he's not gonna put a comment in the comment section. So,
wouldn't you be surprised?
I think we all would. If you're out there, Roddy. But no,
gonna make a fake account.
Somebody's gonna come in there. But first off, you hear of a movie with Roddy Piper. Now, were any of you wrestling fans growing up? Yes.
And he was still in the game, like when he was still in WCW.
He was still wearing the kilt with the T-shirt, and I loved it. So,
yep, big fan.
But originally, this was supposed to be Kurt Russell, but Kurt had already been in a couple of John Carpenter's films. One, The Thing that we've already watched, Big Trouble in Little China, and what was Escape from New York.
Chris, you ever seen Big Trouble in Little China?
Time or two.
Confirm or deny.
We got a limited poster right here. I'm looking at.
Oh yeah. Okay,
I
you've
do
seen
have a
it.
hot toy.
Okay,
got the board game.
I didn't know.
Are you a fan of Big Trouble in Little China? Huh?
No,
Just dabble.
I'm just aware of it.
Just aware.
He just adores it.
Just aware of it.
That's it.
Hey, we'll come on.
Jack Burton.
All right, you can come on Criterion Corner. We'll talk about that. We'll just go on a John Carpenter deep dive. How about that? So Kurt Russell was originally supposed to be in this, but it was kind of like, we'll try something else. And Kurt was kind of busy with a few things. So, oddly enough, John Carpenter, big wrestling fan. So he saw Roddy Piper out there doing his thing and thought, why not have a wrestler in my movie and for that fight scene? So, which we'll get to. But how did you guys think Roddy Piper did in a movie? Do you think he carried it? Did he feel like a wrestler trying to act? What do you think, Ryan?
Well, wrestlers have that ability. I mean,
You're
it
not-
is
you're not
acting. I
Ryan.
don't want to diminish them.
Go ahead, Brandon.
It's a common transition for wrestlers to pick up acting because obviously.
Sounds like you're making an accusation about wrestling. Ryan?
Yeah. So not a wrestling guy. Honestly, I had no idea who he was. So I can't say that like he took me out of the movie or anything. Like didn't know how to act. So I guess that's a credit to what his performance.
There's a few like overact. I mean, well, this whole movie is a lot of overacting, but in comparison to some of the like seasoned actors, like the Keith Davids of the bunch.
Yeah,
I think he's the seasoned actor.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
he's
Well,
good in everything.
But yeah.
Chris, how about yourself? Did he take you out of the movie at all, or?
Yes, in certain ways. I mean, like Ryan, I was never a wrestling guy. I think I was like the only kid in my elementary school that wasn't obsessed with wrestling. So I didn't really know who he was. He didn't take me out of it in that. And I do think even on the rewatch, like some of his acting, most of his acting, I think is fine. I don't think that he was like, trying too hard or like seemingly stiff or anything like that. But I still do kind of have an issue with him just because it seems to me that he had a whole lot of influence on this film. And you can just tell that all of these, I don't know if you have a count on how many one-liners there are in this movie, but you know that they all just came from him. You know that Carpenter did not write these. He just was like, trust me, John, this is going to work.
Well, yeah.
And he just kept dropping like, beat your feet.
Yeah.
I'm all like all those things, all of 37, how many they are, like, it came from him. They all like kind of like jolt you for a second, or at least for me, they did. So there's a lot of things that me personally, if I just am like looking at this just as a movie, it really bothers me. But if I have my way and I take it out, this movie loses 90% of like the iconicness, what it's remembered for, and just a lot of the character. So what do I know?
What do you know?
You know what you need? A Brazilian plastic surgeon. I don't know.
That's the thing.
But it works. It works. I agree with you. Now, Brandon, you're really good at
Thank you.
quoting movies quite a bit. You use quotes.
With voices.
Yeah, quite a
It's
bit.
about 90% of my vocabulary.
Do any of you know any like famous taglines from like movie posters?
Like this movie?
I'm going to tell you the one from this movie. But any taglines from old movies, or movies in
In
general?
space,
Oh,
no one
geez.
can hear you scream.
There you
Yeah, that's
go.
probably
What was the Jaws one? You'll be scared to go in the water or something like that.
Yeah. So they're usually short,
long
sweet,
time
and to
ago
the
in a
point.
galaxy far, far away.
There you go. So they're usually just like something you can say, like short, sweet, and to the point. So the tagline on the poster for this movie was, "You see them on the street. You watch them on TV. You might even vote for one this fall. You think they're people just like you? You're wrong. Dead wrong." Like, like that is such a pointed. It's not even
Rolls
a
off the tongue.
tagline. It's like a tag paragraph. Yeah, it's just this movie from start to finish, from the marketing to the movie to the trailers, which is part of the marketing, but to the cast, to the writing. Everything about this movie is just uncanny, and it's just weird and everything. And I think that's why I like it so much, because it is cheesy and whatnot, but the cheese comes from being a real 80s movie, which so many people are trying to capture again nowadays. And I don't think you can capture that when it's not an organic type of thing. So
It reminded me a lot of Mars Attacks.
well, that's
Aesthetically.
influenced by this. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that's what I'm saying. Like, I can see
No, I'm not-
the
yeah.
influence. I know. I know that it came after, but
Now let's talk about Keith David. I love Keith David. I think Keith David's one of those actors. A lot of people probably don't know him by name. A lot of people probably like, oh, that's that guy in The Thing, you know. Not The Thing, the movie, but
Literally.
yeah,
Pitch Black,
literally. He is. He narrates the Bible. I'm a fan. So
He's got the voice.
I think
That's for sure.
Yeah, we talked about
Great
him.
voice.
yeah, he's.
I always think of him as was it Arbiter in the Halo franchise. So I know I'm probably alone in that here in this podcast.
the current box set.
Moving on.
The current the current box set for They Live from Shout Factory. You can buy it with or without a Keith David Frank character action figure. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's really cool. That thing, those special editions of this movie, they've come out quite a bit. I think at least 3 or 4 times in the last 10 years, special editions, and they sell out like crazy. This movie is very beloved in the indie world, the cult movie world. So let's talk about the other cast members. I mean, the craziest thing in this movie are Meg Foster's eyes.
Yeah.
Those things.
I thought that she was some sort of alien.
Alien.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that reveal,
Would not
and
have
then
surprised me.
and then whenever at the end she does kind of turn heel a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, so is she an alien now? She had some sort of thing where he couldn't see her with the glasses. But yeah,
Yeah, those are her real eyes, oddly enough. So, they're striking. They
They are.
they definitely grab your attention. Like, whoa, because they don't look real. You're right. But I like this movie. I like the pace of this movie. It's a little disjointed in places, of course.
I feel like it kind of hits. This is why I say that I feel like it knows what it is, because, or maybe I justify it that way, because characters just kind of accept things so quickly and just kind of move along the story for just historic reasons. I feel like things kind of
Right.
just kind of hit the ground running, especially when he gets the glasses, and then then
Put
he's
the glasses on.
Just got to kill them all.
then he's robbing a bank or whatever.
Well, he walks in there not knowing he's going to be in a bank. He's just trying to get away. So, I like the most expensive scene in this movie. Part of that redacted $85 million was the store scene, the grocery store scene, because most of the signage and everything when he puts the glasses on, most of that is just matte paintings and whatnot. So that not going to cost you a whole lot of money. But that entire grocery store, they created that from scratch. They put every single bottle, every single can, everything with the generic labels on there.
So like a movie set.
Like a movie set. Yeah, they did that. But they didn't have a whole lot of money to do all this with. So, but that was the most expensive scene in the entire movie. But I really enjoy that scene, especially I don't know. I thought that Roddy Piper was crazy enough. I didn't think he was over the top. Now there was one scene where he just starts yelling, and you're like, yeah, that's Roddy Piper right there. That's who that is. That's a wrestler. There's one scene like that, but the rest of it, I thought he did well. I thought the rest of the cast held him up, for sure. I thought Keith David being there was definitely he was Scottie Pippen to the Roddy Piper's Jordan. So, but anyway, I thought the writing in this was pretty well done. It's not the greatest writing I've ever seen in my life, but I thought the movie flowed really well. I thought that there was no lagging. Did you guys feel that way, Chris? Did you feel that it was lagging or anything? Did you feel
No, I mean, definitely not lagging. Kind of to Brandon's point earlier, he's just everybody just accepts things and goes right off the bat as soon as he wanders in like Rambo from Colorado.
Yeah, right.
This movie does have a lot of feel of the very first Rambo movie.
Yeah, for sure.
This is Rambo with aliens, basically, is what it is. And the
Basically.
first Rambo movie is really good. If you think you know what Rambo is because of all the in the jungle fighting and stuff, that's not Rambo. Like the first Rambo is a totally different movie.
Did you guys see Last Blood?
I have the box
Oh
set.
boy.
I want to skip that one.
Oh boy.
I want to go back and skip that one.
I didn't see
What?
it.
Stick to
Was
first
it,
blood.
hang on. Was Last Blood the next to last one, or was because Rambo was the last one, right?
No,
was
Last Blood was.
Last Blood's
yeah.
very recent.
Last Blood was the
It's
recent.
called
one.
That's the
Last
that's
Blood.
the Home Alone for adults, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically it. It's like Taken,
Yeah.
sprinkled with Home Alone, sprinkled with bad
Didn't
Yeah.
you say you watched
decisions.
I wa-
Plane?
I watched that on an
Polluted with
airplane.
Bad movie decisions.
I watched that on an airplane with a guy looking over like, what does this guy watch? Because it's so gruesome. But I couldn't stop watching. It was so bad. I loved it. So it was just so bad. Anyway, the whole Rambo, I bought the whole box set and watched that during quarantine. So it's like, I'm very close to those. But no, I think the story of this movie is near and dear to my heart because, like I said, I see the world like this. Did you guys, again, not being political, okay, everybody, but with everything going on, with the quarantine, blah, 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 everything, this movie kind of resonates today even. I think this message is something that can resonate with people because there's always going to be government. There's always going to be people don't agree with this side or that side or whatever. Do you guys feel like it? I mean, in all reality, I'm sure there's somebody out there trying to remake this movie at some point in the near future, but
I think it probably resonates
Yeah.
more now than it did then. I mean, if you look at what we have with social media and like fake celebrities and just this image-based, kind of society that we have. I obviously don't have a whole lot of memories of the
Right.
late '80s, but I don't know. I just have to think that it probably is a little more on the
It's
nose
a-
now.
Timeless. I mean, it's a timeless concept in my opinion. And it goes beyond government too. It's consumerism and.
yep.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think that what the ideas they're talking about, I don't think it's something that ages out.
Speaking of, we have swag out there. You can go buy our stuff. That's all we're saying. Brandon, how about
Chris,
you?
Yes.
put your glasses on.
And it's the choice of a new generation.
Wayne and Garth
Was it
wearing Reebok
Nupro?
and stuff.
Is it Nupro? Little. Different.
Nuprin?
Nuprin.
Yeah.
That's Wayne's World reference,
just so
Ryan.
sad.
He hasn't seen it. Sorry.
You haven't seen Wayne's World?
We've talked
Neither of
about
them.
this, Al.
I try to block out the stupid stuff y'all say. So so anyway, that's at least 1/3 of the show. So anyway, let's talk about the soundtrack of this movie. It's bow bow bow.
Sucks.
It's the same thing over and over. This is the same guy that wrote bing ding dong bing ding dong bing dong bing dong dong bing dong, like the Halloween theme and everything. And this is bow bow bow. What I love about this is that he added a second guy to write this. It's like there's a second guy. They were like sitting around like, yeah.
I was when the movie started
Harmonica
and
idea?
the score started. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then like
Yeah.
30 minutes in, I was like, for the love of God.
Yeah.
and it never fails. Like he gets thrown out of a window by Meg Foster. He's like,
Which, with
Yeah.
that scene, how did you guys like it? That was like a little bit different with the camera usage where all of a sudden it's this top down and like this quick motion. It was definitely different than
Yeah,
everything else in the movie. And then the 100-foot fall.
he's like, I got a scratch on my elbow. No
good.
big deal.
Yeah.
Tough guy.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
cute. Bye-bye.
Well, he was limping convincingly after that, but maybe not for that far of a fall, but yeah, I don't know. The music's the only thing that I could say that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it actually kind of plays with this movie well. As weird and campy as this movie is, the music's just as campy. So it's not like everybody's going to Spotify. Although I will say, Chris, I know you like the vinyl.
Yeah, do you have this on vinyl?
I do. No, I have Big Trouble in
No.
Little China, Carpenter's work from 2 years prior, and tons of similarities. You can pick up on themes throughout, like, this sound design and the score, but this is just like they took John Carpenter and he was like, all right, here's most of it. Somebody else finish this off. And they were like, let me ruin this real quick. I love the Big Trouble in Little China one. I mean, it inspired Stranger Things as far as I'm concerned. And then this is just like, all right, this is like the B movie kind of bluesy version
Yeah.
of it.
You're pretty
Have you
spot
ever
on.
heard of spinachers for vinyl records?
I have not.
So this is relevant because they make these little vinyl toppers that go on the little like spindle that you put the vinyl on, and they have They Live, the politician. They have one that it's a company called Waxwork, I think. I'll send
Okay,
you a
I've
link.
got some
Yeah, I
stuff
saw
now.
it the other day, and that's so I think they were promoting the They Live one because they had just released it. They have a lot of Carpenter stuff apparently, but anyway, it's a cool little thing. I just thought I'd mention it. I'll send you a link to it. But yeah, I'd never seen those
Thanks,
before.
Brandon. Keep it weighted down.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be bad. I mean, because I would, we have a vinyl record player now, so I would like to have something like that for ours, but I'm not getting one of those.
They don't make Ben Affleck
Hey,
ones.
next Christmas, buddy. I
don't
got
have
you.
those yet. No.
No.
So, what did you guys think about the design of the aliens?
Tribal. It looks tribal.
Tribal. Tribal. Okay. Brandon, what'd you say?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something. Well, say something now.
I was talking about vinyl spinachers. And,
Yeah.
not gonna do that anymore.
So what'd you think about the alien?
I thought it was cool. I mean, that's the image that I've associated with this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I've kind of tangentially like known of the movie, the box art and that kind of thing, and that's probably one of the, I guess, as far as pop culture is concerned, it's one of the things that's kind of like been a staple, and so I mean, yeah, I think it seemed like it was some sort of like mask that kind of moved as their jaw would move, type setup. So it was a little hokey in execution. But again, that's this movie, so I'm gonna cut it some slack.
Did anybody notice a prop from a totally different movie in this movie?
The couch from The Wire.
No.
Oh.
There's a very famous
Very
prop
random.
in this movie, and it's been used in 2 other movies than the original movie it was used in. Anybody? Bueller? Nobody? The PKE meter from Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, I actually have that written down. I have it. It says, "The little readers the soldiers carry." At
Yeah,
the end."
I had
What
it written
movie are
down
those
too,
also
guys.
in?
Yeah, that's my bad.
No, I didn't know what it was, and I tried to go. I was like, "How do
Chris
I
had
search
it written
for
down
this?"
too. He texted me.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
know what to search. I was like, "Device," and They Live in a different movie. I couldn't get any results for it.
I'm sure if you just typed in Ghostbusters They Live, I'm sure something would have come up.
Well, I would have had to have known that, Al. That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is,
Was that not in your notes?
watch
That's definitely me and Chris's notes. for
great
sure.
movies. It was also, Brandon, in a movie that I'm sure you saw as a kid, Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan.
I did see that.
So it's in that movie as well. So, so the PKE meter from Suburban Commando. I'm sorry, I meant to say that. So, so it's in here. It's very random. That takes me out of the movie for a split second. I'm like, what? It's like, why is that in here? There's a bunch of rumors, stories out there. I don't know if any of them are true. I've never heard John Carpenter say one way or the other, but apparently they just kind of borrowed it. Thanks, we'll borrow it, and it was there. So, Chris, being the only other person here that's seen Ghostbusters, apparently, did you?
I've seen it.
We're talking
Absorb-
about the Melissa McCarthy movie.
No.
Yep. Wait, they made other ones? There's a sequel to it? Oh, Afterlife.
It's Chris Hemsworth.
Ghostbusters
We're hijacking Al's winning show.
Yeah, I'm excited for Afterlife. It's a shame that they didn't make a sequel to the Melissa McCarthy one, but you know what are you gonna
I
do?
know.
Sarcasm. No, Chris, are you a fan of Ghostbusters?
I am the originals
Yeah.
with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Bill
The
Murray's
only
in the
ones
new
as
one.
far as
Exactly.
I'm
Thank you.
concerned.
Yeah. And Aykroyd, he's also in it.
Let's not talk about that.
Brandon said that
I'm
Ghostbusters
wrong.
is not funny.
I stand by it. It's not funny.
It's hilarious.
I tend. There's not a ton of Bill Murray movies. Like Caddyshack gets me. There's not a ton of Bill Murray movies that like make me like laugh out loud.
What about Bob?
I've never seen that one.
I liked What About Bob when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it recently.
It's hilarious.
I love Groundhog Day. But
Groundhog Day's good. I do like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Phil?
Phil Connor? I thought that was you.
Yeah. So, no, that was in here. So that took me out of the movie for a split second. Another thing I think that we need to talk about, I think we have to talk about, you cannot review this movie without talking about the fight scene.
Yeah. Act 2, the fight. That's what they wrote down on the script. The whole act.
Actually,
Fight.
the fight was supposed to be 20 seconds long, ended up being like 5 minutes, 50 seconds or 53 seconds, something like that. So, for a long time, this was considered the longest fight scene in movie history. I don't remember.
Do we know what beat it?
Huh?
Was it Man of
Do
Steel?
you know what beat it?
Yeah, that whole movie's a fight scene. So,
Love you, Zach.
I would imagine that I don't know what was the first one to beat it, but I would imagine that. Well, this is the longest two-person fight scene. Maybe I don't know if that still stands, but as far as fight scene goes, I would imagine Kill Bill's fight scene would trump it quite a bit. Oops, I'm sorry. Got
The Crazy 88's one.
yeah.
Flagged.
Good one, guys.
So yeah, so the new guys, the guys that have never seen this before, Ryan, what'd you think about the fight scene?
I don't know. So I read about the fight scene online before I watched the movie, and I don't know if I was like expecting it to be like feel longer than it did because of what I read about it, but it didn't like crazy stand out to me. I guess maybe I shouldn't have looked up anything about the movie before I watched it to
Probably a
like
good
really
idea.
appreciate the fight scene, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the more blind you go into this movie, I think the better.
Mhm.
It sounds like Chris kind of went into this a little bit blind, and for the most part, I went into it blind. I just knew I wanted to see it. I knew about what the aliens look like. I knew, the Shepard Fairey stuff. I knew all of that stuff, but yeah, I didn't really know the ins and outs of it. So, Brandon, what did you think about the fight scene? Did it was it good to you?
No, not really. I mean, I was ready for it to be over with. It was.
Really? I thought it was great. Chris, am I the only one here that thought that fight scene was? I thought it was so clunky, and it felt like more of a real fight than most fight scenes in movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only time I've ever seen like the two men horizontal, like lasting knee to the groin over and over after 4.5 minutes worth of fighting, throwing. I'm probably a little bit more on Brandon's side on
Chris
it.
Chris is
I know it's kind of
like,
blasphemy.
He does. What kind of martial arts do you
Jiu-jitsu.
dabble in?
I currently train Brazilian
combat,
Jiu-Jitsu.
and he's our combat and weapons guru for this podcast. So he gets really like. We've talked about movies in the past where he gets really like technical, like critiques the technical stuff of things that we watch.
And that's not even so much of it with this one. I think I'm so distracted by like the length of it, the clunkiness of it, and it's just like an 80s movie that I don't like look for that into. But I've seen like some accomplished martial artists who love this fight scene. I think maybe like Wonder Boy had done this spot on YouTube of him reviewing like the greatest fight scenes in movies. I think it was who did it, and he loved this one. I'm just not a huge fan. I still remember from the first time I saw this, not knowing what this movie was. I was like, this is still happening. There are things I appreciated, in it, and I do love the part where he like swings the piece of wood and he like breaks the car window when he misses, and he like kind of breaks him. I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. That part kind of gets me. I like that. But overall, I know that it's kind of blasphemy to say, but I'm not the biggest fan of the fight scene. But it's kind of made this, just one more tick on like the cult checklist of this movie. So I guess I'm glad that it's there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I like the fight scene because, like I said, it feels more realistic than most fight scenes. And it's wide shots, so you can actually see everything, all tight shots and fast cuts and everything. So, I watched a little bit of behind the scenes of the fight scene, and it took what was it, like a month and a half to rehearse it, and then it took them 3 days to film it. So that's pretty amazing. I think it took Tarantino, if I'm not mistaken, for the one in Kill Bill, I think it took like 2 weeks or something crazy, like a month or something. Like, it was something crazy to film that thing, but you had a lot more going on in that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I find it kind of fun. And the one thing I did appreciate is he's sitting there bashing Keith David's head on the ground, right? Not in real life, but Frank's head on the ground. And he's doing that. And then they get up and they turn around and he's got a big strawberry on the back of his head. And I was like, oh, okay, continuity. That's pretty cool. Like, so they kept it up. But what I thought was funny about it is, like, nobody's there to break up this fight between two guys for 6 minutes. Like, nobody, no cops. Like these little flying crafts, or like little UFOs, or whatever you want to call them, little drones. I guess they predicted drones. Drones are flying around, looking for them and everything, and they're out in the open fighting, causing a disturbance, and like the cops are looking for them, everything. So I just find it funny that, if I want to be honest, that kind of took me out of it a little bit. I was like, hang on, what? And the biggest thing that took me out of this movie is whenever he's in the back of the trash truck, garbage truck, and it, like, he's like trying to find the stuff, and they closed. He's like, okay, I gotta get here, and then they just lift it up and dump the trash out. Now I know he lifted the gate, but why in the world would they lift, like they were gonna? Why would they put the truck in that? Yeah, it makes no sense. So anyway, it's the nitpicky stuff. I don't just do it to y'all's movies. I do it to my movies too.
That was one of those things I looked at too, and I was like, maybe I don't know the urban environment enough to know, like, is that a normal thing? They lift it to get around corners easier? I was really trying to figure that out in my head, because I was like, why?
Yeah, so...
what are the reasons for this?
But, no, ultimately, I think this movie stands out because of the style that it has. I think this movie has inspired so many movies because it is so very creative. It does tell a great narrative through a different prism than we usually look at that narrative, and I think it's a lot of fun. Whether you're a politics person or not, this movie is still a good movie to absorb, to kind of digest, and turn on, and you can have a good time. Put politics aside, all that nonsense. You can still have a good time watching this movie, and I had a great time watching it. I try not to dabble in all of that nonsense. So, anything else that stood out to
What'd you guys think about the ending?
Well, yeah, okay. Well, the ending.
Very John Carpenter.
Yeah,
especially
very
that
John
final
Carpenter.
Finally got their boobs in the movie.
Yeah. It's like out of nowhere.
I know. It was the last scene.
It was absolutely out of nowhere. I was going to ask you guys that you guys watch more movies, and this isn't a knock at all, but you guys watch more movies with like special effect, like bigger special effects in them than I do, or you particularly like movies like that. Did the special effects in this movie take you out of it at any time because they're dated?
No, I think kind of we've talked about it before, but like when I watch movies like this, I just kind of look at them understanding that
As lesser than.
no, just understanding like when they came out and what to expect for on the effects side. So it didn't take me out of it or shock me in any way.
I would like to echo Ryan's sentiment.
Okay.
I actually really liked the effect they did with that portal at the end of the alleyway during that shootout. That opens up on the ground and it had a cool aesthetic to it, and the way they just dropped through and it cuts over with the sound kind of synced up to it. I thought it was like a pretty cool effect, especially for when they did it. And then even outside of the flashy stuff, I'd love to hear what you guys think, being a room full of designers, but I love the real world kind of design with all that stuff that inspired Shepard Fairey and Obey. I think it's such a cool aesthetic. The use of the future of bold, and when he stops at the little newsstand and he gets hassled for buy it or put it up. Like, I kind of watching it now, I was like, I want to buy a copy of that magazine with the Obey, spend money, watch TV,
right.
all that. It was just cool. The visually, it was just good design.
What I find funny about the whole Shepard Fairey thing is that this movie's all about capitalism and everything, and how it is poison and if it's used incorrectly and things like that. And Shepard Fairey's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to capitalize on this movie about not liking capitalism, and I'm going to make a ton of money off of it. And it was like, for all the kids out there that don't know who Shepard Fairey is, he's basically like the brand Supreme now. He was the first version of that kind of. He had, if you've ever seen the Andre the Giant Obey sticker, that's Shepard Fairey. So I've seen people with tattoos of that. That's pretty. There's a good documentary. Have you ever seen the documentary? It was on Hulu for a while. I think so.
Exit
yeah,
to the
that's a
gift
good
shop.
documentary. I watched that a couple years ago, and he did the Obama posters, right? And yeah,
He got sued for doing that.
Yeah, he's done quite a bit that I don't know that people have actually accredited him for. But he's a really good artist, and he has a good story. So I think you should watch that documentary. But anyway, Chris was asking a question. I didn't mean to interrupt, fellas.
What?
Yeah, what was the question?
He was
Chris
saying,
was asking a question.
being we're designers and like we've all had,
Brandon
forgot.
knows I'm not a designer, so I'll let Brandon
you are,
take this
Ryan.
one.
No, I like the design. I like it. That's definitely something that I latched onto in the real world, so to speak.
Where's Jeff when we need him?
I'm a sucker for clean design
yeah.
type
And
treatment.
I seriously, if they were to ever do a Criterion of this movie, I would really like a white case with just "consume" on the front of it, and that would be that'd just be the whole case. I
Just
think
make
that
it
would
for
be.
yourself. Print it, take the slip out, put it in.
I'm gonna have to do it.
Was the Repo
Yeah, I
Man
believe
before
so.
this?
Repo Man came out before this.
I can
Kind of
see that.
similar.
Have you seen
aesthetics
Repo
in
Man?
there.
So I'm guessing that is a movie. That is a movie I don't think will
Been
go
a long
well
time.
on this show. That is a Criterion
that one.
collection. You have with did you see it?
See Repo Man or Repo Man?
Is this really a different thing? Oh, okay, then probably not. Whatever you're talking
Yeah.
about. Whichever one you guys are talking about, I've probably seen the other one.
Was Emilio Estevez in your movie?
Yeah. Or is it
Dude,
Jude
I
Law?
don't know. I haven't seen that movie in I don't know, probably 15 years.
Were there aliens that abducted a car at the end?
No.
Of the movie? Okay.
No.
Yeah, so that's actually on Criterion, and I do own it, and it's very good. And anybody wants to talk about that, come on over to Criterion Corner. So I do think that would be a good movie to pair with this as a double feature. Those movies have really pushed that. It's more than an 80s aesthetic. It's more of, they've really got the punk rock aesthetic going with the color schemes and stuff. So it's really funny how these movies really latched onto that. But yeah, this movie has such an aesthetic to it that it has been, the fight scene alone has been put in, like, I think South Park did a whole entire like reimagine. Yeah.
Timmy versus Jimmy.
Yeah.
Shot for shot.
And so many others have done like just homages to this movie. So, and just little pieces of it, if it's not the aesthetic or whatever. So, but the bubblegum line, I came here, chew bubblegum, and kick tail, all out of bubblegum. That line has been aped quite a bit. I guess tip of the hat to that line quite a bit. And Chris, you're spot on that. So Rowdy Piper came in and he said, I have all these one-liners because we have to have them in wrestling. We have to have them. McMahon makes us have them. And I have this list that they just won't let me use or I haven't used in wrestling yet. And that was one of them. And he just came in and said it, and it, boom, rocketed, like straight. So and also Criterion, I think it should come with bubblegum. Just saying. Yeah. So this movie has a lot of story and whatnot. And we cannot talk about all the little kitschy things that went on behind the scenes of this movie, but I truly think everybody should go online and just look them up. There's crazy things out there about this movie. Like the first scene cost $24,000 just because there was a technical error, so they had to do it again completely and keep doing it, and it cost $24,000. So, but yeah, the ending, we were trying to get to that. The ending of this movie is very John Carpenter. That bunker or whatever you want to call it that they were in, and they went to that like black tie dinner or whatever. I had a friend that watched this movie, and he said, "Dude, they're just standing there. Everybody else has got tuxedos on. They're just standing there. They've got shirt, like a button-up flannel shirt and jeans on and blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't they?" I'm like, you got to suspend disbelief for a minute. But
who's the guy in that scene that grabs him? He's like, "Come on, boys, I'll show you around."
Yeah, he's
from
from
the
the
business.
He's got sitting there
So
watching
who was
TV.
he in the beginning? I
watching
kept
TV
forgetting,
all
like,
the time.
where did we see
Yeah,
him?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He
I was like, I don't
cleaned up
remember which
really
one he
nice.
was.
But anyway,
He did.
I digress. But yeah, did you guys? Well, Brandon said he did, but Ryan, did you suspect Holly to be in on it? Maybe
That's
the
a good question.
ringleader.
I guess I had inklings of it.
That's why I asked it.
And frankly, it is funny. Her character, we were talking about her eyes earlier. I was looking at, as I was watching the movie, I was looking up just IMDb, looking at
Anything
the
else? I was like, something.
Yeah. And I was scrolling through the characters and I saw her picture on IMDb, and it's just one of those very like striking, like, her eyes are very striking. And I was like, I had got to the point where she was in the movie yet. And I was like, it's weird. I would notice if I saw her. And then like the instant I did that, I looked up and she was on screen. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's alien eyes.
I don't know if you guys ever watched the Lou Ferrigno Hulk show back in the day. My grandfather used to watch it all the
Yeah, I've seen
time.
it, yeah.
And sorry guys. But anyway, whenever he would go from is it Bruce? Is it David Banner? Okay,
David Banner in the show.
All right, so when he would switch over to the Hulk, his eyes, and that's exactly what I was thinking about, those eyes in that show.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, hey, I referenced a comic book as we're talking about a comic book movie.
Graphics.
guys.
Nice try. Al.
Change.
Welcome to Cape Cast. So, no. But she takes over. Chris, did you have an inkling that it was her?
I mean, she was just
Yeah,
freaky.
exactly.
I don't know. She threw me off the whole time. And then, like, she was a character. It's one of these things where I can't help but, like, look at this movie and, like, really judge her. I'm like, why was she in this? Like, what was his obsession with her where he's, like, really needs to find her at the end? And, like, what was the thing where she shows up to like help the
It's her eyes.
resistance, and who is
Tractor
she on the
beam.
phone? Like it was all just bizarre. Everything revolving around her. I just liked that one top-down shot of her like hitting him and
Yeah.
somehow throwing him out the window. I like that shot with her in it.
Creepy
Otherwise, I'm
Eyes.
like, why is Creepy Eyes here?
That's the other version of Creepy Eyes. So anyway, well, guys, I believe we have exhausted this topic of They Live. Unless you guys have anything else to talk about here. I know that you
good,
guys
Al.
could go on
I'm
for
good.
hours, but I want to pull the reins on this a little bit. All right, let's get down to brass tacks here. Ryan, buy it, skip it, punch it, bop it, whatever.
So on this show, I've never done a skip it, and I have a hard time saying skip it on things because it's just not my. This one wasn't my cup of tea, but like obviously like it's got some like real like kitschy pop culture. I don't know, very stylized. So like I feel like there's people that really they watch a movie like this and they really like latch to it. Yes, UL and Chris apparently. If you're like me, I would probably skip it. But if you like this kind of movie, definitely give it a watch.
It's okay if you say skip it.
That's hard, Al. That's hard.
Nobody's going to get mad
It's
at you.
It's hard.
Kids these days. Anyway, Brandon, what'd you think? What would you do?
I would say rent it.
Rent it.
If you haven't seen it, I'd say rent it. If you have seen it, then it's you probably, if you're wanting to see it again, buy it. I mean, it's something that I feel like if it's something like I was saying earlier. I feel like it's one of those movies that it kind of improves upon rewatching in terms of the quotes and just the absurdness of it.
That's probably true.
Kind of just one of those cult classic, like I don't know. It's hard to say because Al, you didn't grow up watching this. You just discovered it recently.
I didn't discover it recently. I just watched it recently. Yeah. I've known about it for a long time, for decades.
I know you don't want to admit. You keep saying, I didn't. No, I didn't discover it. I just, it's not.
Oh my God, it sounds just like Al.
I thought it was me.
Just watched it. It's
I
been
had
on
to
your
make
list
sure I
of
wasn't
shame.
talking.
But you latched onto it. And so I feel like if you're in that camp that you like these types of movies, if you have like a hardening for like, 80s cult classics, then you'll dig it. So definitely check it out if so.
Awesome. Chris, what'd you think?
I mean, I'm kind of on the same mindset as Brandon. I think it's a rent it, but it's a cult classic movie. It's a cult classic for a reason. It's absurd. So if you're going to be somebody who's joining up in that cult, like you're going to end up buying it. But I think my general recommendation to most anybody talk to about this is just check it
It's
out,
worth seeing
rent it,
once
watch
for
it.
for most people, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you just have an aversion
Yeah.
for this kind of stuff.
I mean, I don't know.
How many copies do you own now?
Oh, I'm sorry. This old thing?
He's in a cult.
That cover
This-
art looks too modern.
Well,
Yes.
they have the other cover art on the inside.
sunglass
Yeah,
one.
so yeah.
There.
I say buy it. I say if you're gonna have like a movie marathon, like a John Carpenter movie marathon, this is one you have to have in that movie marathon. Personally, I say that. I can watch this movie many times over. I think it's funny. I think it's silly. So I think it's a good time to watch. I think it's really fun to watch with other people, especially people like a mixed bag of movie lovers like we have right here. We have different degrees. People like different things, blah, blah, blah. But it's fun to watch and chit-chat about afterwards because you do get the lines. You do have the aesthetic and everything. I do think that, this movie... I think this is something that, I don't know, when kiddos are old enough in my family and stuff like that, I'll show them this movie. This is one of those ones I'll pull out and say, hey, this is this is a kind of an artsy fartsy movie, and it's a lot of fun, and then we'll talk about how you can cover up the true meaning and everything with an aesthetic and a story. You don't have to be so on the nose. So I like stuff like this. So I would say buy it, of course. But again, it's not for everybody. You're right. So
Do
I
make a
could
good
see
point.
that,
Be
yeah.
a better group watch.
Yeah.
Kind of like that commentary.
Yeah,
That's why
I-
I kind
How long
of
has this
lumped it
fight been
into
going
the
on for?
room category because that
Yeah.
one has got a big, cult following, midnight screening type thing. It's like, grindhouse type cinema where you can just go in and everybody's kind of a rowdy crowd that just, shouts out the lines and, that kind of thing. I can see it being that kind of thing.
yeah, and this movie is one of those movies that it seems like it's always streaming somewhere. So it's I guess it's in one of those starter packages for a streaming system or whatever. I don't know, but stream platform. But I just wanted to buy it because it of course you have the higher resolution and everything, but it's the sound and everything's pretty darn good in it. And the special features on the Blu-ray are fantastic. So I highly suggest checking those out. And I too want to get that Shepherd Ferry magazine. So, well, guys, thanks for just watching They Live. I appreciate you being good sports about it, Ryan. I got some salty text messages from Ryan. I think one of them was, I already have to watch something. I already have to watch one movie I'm not excited about or something like that tonight. So I knew where this was going. So, but no, we have fun. We talk about movies. So we want all of you to join in on the conversation. Ryan, you want to tell them how to go about doing that?
Yep. Easiest thing to do would be to drop down and hit us up in the comments. Also, please follow us on Instagram at Cinemachine Pod. We love talking movies on there. And then, of course, hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all things Cinemachine, Capecast, Criterion Corner.
There you go. Now, I guess this is the best place to do this. Usually right here we have it to where everybody votes on a movie. Like we all put up a movie for everybody to
Chris
vote
is
on.
like, what's happening right now?
We're all... Chris is like, I didn't know y'all were going to fire him in front of me. So it's really weird when your replacement's watching.
earmuffs.
Just mute this.
But no, I think it's over the time when you're doing a show, you have to grow and you have to see what's best for the entertainment value of it. And our channel is growing quite. I would say it's kind of being expedited at this point. So, and that's all due to all of you. So thank you very much for giving us a reason to do what we're talking about here. With Capecast and Criterion Corner, we talk about, the Capecast covers more of the comic book, I guess, popcorn movies, things of that nature.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I cover the other side of geek, which is indie movies and cinephile stuff and whatnot. And we're starting to have interviews and so on and so forth. So we really just want to have fun on this show. And maybe there's not a whole lot in the theater, with the state of movie theaters and the state of movies in general. So we thought whenever there's a review, whenever there's a movie coming out, we'll review it here. But we're not going to do the voting thing, at least for a while, if not forever. We don't really know. We're not going to say anything's completely dead, but we really just want to get on here and kind of chit chat about stuff that's going on in movies and stuff that we've been watching and such, and just have more of a conversation, hang out. We're going to do some live shows to where all of you can hang out and talk to us, because that's really what this show is all about. It's about really starting the conversation about movies and physical media and the collector's pieces and all of that we're all into. So we want to make sure that you all have your voice heard, and we can all just chit chat, be a bunch of friends through the comment section, and we can all just get to know each other one way or the other. Guys, you want to add anything to that? Or
Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo what you said. I think
My name's
the
Al.
move that we're kind of making here is we talk on here about how we've wanted to kind of build a community around the movies that we're talking about. And, we've really enjoyed what we've done, our format and the reviews we've done, but we also have kind of felt like it's been lacking a two-way conversations. Obviously we see in the comments, but like we like the idea of having you guys be a part of the show, so we feel like a live format for our weekly show will kind of allow more engagement and community.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I agree.
Well,
that sounds like Brandon.
I guess now's the time to tell the truth. Everybody was upset that another one of my movies won, and they said no more voting.
Yeah,
So-
well, what it really is we needed an excuse to not have Chris back next week, so we didn't allow him to nominate a movie.
this is the easiest way to say no.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, Chris can't come on anymore. Let's change up the format.
But we're going to be having guests. We will be having guests on this show. We're talking to a lot of people, and they might not be next week or whatever. But please do tune in. We're gonna try to make sure we iron it out to something that's best for everybody, you guys out there, and all of us, so that we can just have a really fun time talking about movies. Because I'll be honest with you, I never want to watch another Matrix movie ever again. And
And you know it was coming too.
everybody kept threatening, and I don't want to do it again. So, yeah, we had to put the kibosh on this. But if you guys have ideas of what you want us to chat about, if you have, anything that like a movie you want us to review, if you have a piece of physical media, if you want us to kind of tell you, I mean, we have a little bit of everything in this group. We all touch on a lot of different things. So we just want to talk about movies, have a lot of fun, and we thank you all for being there for us during all of this as we get started up on YouTube here. So
No doubt.
thanks everybody. And we usually go to the wrap up right now, and Brandon does movie news and all that. And that's all dead. It's all dead. We don't want to hear Brandon anymore. And
I don't think Brandon wants to hear Brandon anymore.
Matter of fact, Brandon did say that. So,
Yep.
none of us watched anything this week. Actually, we did, and that's one of the
that's a good
movies
point,
we'll
yeah.
be reviewing. So, we just don't think it's an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute show. Looking at all of us, I mean, it's fun, but we're gonna
You
try
don't
this
want
out for a
that.
while. We're gonna try this out for a while, and yeah, let us know if it works for you, if you think of any changes we could do, because really we just want to have a lot of fun. So,
Yep.
no
doubt.
Anybody got anything to add before we go?
Don't think so. Subscribe.
Sounds
Hit
good.
the subscribe
Wanna tell them where to
button.
find us
Yes.
again?
Yeah.
I was going to nominate.
There's one
Superman
selection
Commando.
and it will not be reviewed.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that we watch Big Trouble in Little China.
I was thinking
but
Matrix Reloaded. So
see you in Criterion Corner, Chris. So we'll have a show over there. Do go out and check out the Cape Cast. They've interviewed quite a few people lately. You want to tell them who you guys have interviewed lately?
yeah, we had Paul Shirey on from Beard and the Bald. And we also, last weekend, we had Scott McClellan on from DC Films Squadcast. Working on another one this weekend. And Al, since we're talking about our show, go ahead, plug the interview.
Well, that's the only reason I said anything about your show. So over there on Criterion Corner, I had a great opportunity to chat with first-time filmmaker. He's about to film his second movie here in the next year or so, Casper Seal Jones, and he just released the movie To Tokyo. And if you go watch that episode, that interview, we are giving away 3 free copies of that movie, digital copies of that movie. But all the instructions of how to do that are in that video. So please do go over and check out that interview. We had a lot of fun. I think Casper and I became best friends. And he's actually, guys, filming his next movie in Atlanta. And
Look,
rumor
you
has
don't
it-
have to be bashful. You're going to be a movie star soon. All right.
What I'm saying is
Finally.
above the title, Al. Just Al. I'm gonna be like Cher.
So, just to add a little flavor to that raffle that you're doing. Melissa's dad's been sending like all of us like things to enter on social media, and he saw the post about those movies, so he sent them to everybody for the to Tokyo 3 copy things that you're giving away.
That's great.
That's pretty funny. And also, everybody, we do have a special prize for somebody out there. Ryan has a Suicide Squad Blu-ray he does not want. And
It's 4K.
yeah, we're gonna give that away. You have to, in order to get that, you have to like, subscribe, and comment on this episode right here, and we'll pick a winner from those people. How about that? All
Sure.
right. Right? Okay.
Sure.
I'll pay for shipping. It don't matter. We'll get it there.
Cool.
We'll get it there to him. It may be in shambles because he's so.
That's right.
Anyway, we want to thank Chris
Collection.
for coming on again. How many times is this? 3 in a row? Yeah,
Thank
man.
you guys.
Awesome. And you got to end on
It's
a
the
great
hat trick.
John Carpenter movie. It's fantastic.
What could be
So-
better?
I don't see anything could be better. But no, we'll see you all next week on Cinemachine.
New format.
maybe. New format. We're getting a fat kid. So anyway,
We'll keep you posted. Also, we'll keep you posted on when we're going live next week. We'll give you guys some heads up on that. And
be
obviously-
gentle. We're going live for the first time, so be
Obviously-
gentle.
Obviously, we'd love to see you guys in the comments there. So
Yeah. So
let's do it.
all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Cinemachine. Until we see you next time, keep watching a ton of movies.
Bye.
Bye.